Talk about the day of June 12th, 1994.
Yeah.
Tell me about getting ready for your daughter's recital. Just take me through the day.
It was a long week. I had been to 3 or 4 cities that week. I was totally exhausted. My friends in New York tried to get me to stay in New York that Friday, play golf Saturday, and then go straight to Chicago where I had to be Monday morning. But my daughter was having a recital, and I had already missed, I think the week or 2 before, I was out of town, and I had missed something. I forget what it was, something that my daughter was having. So I couldn't miss this. So I said, I got to be there for the recital. And I flew into town, and I just wanted to go there, see my daughter, and leave. And I talked to Nicole briefly that day. She had called and asked if I could get there early and hold seats. And I said, I don't think so, which she did. And when we got to the recital, she had actually held me a seat with her and the 2 kids, right?
There was something that you write in the book about what Nicole was wearing.
Yeah, it was almost like she was trying to be a teenager again. You know, dating all these much younger guys, wearing the shortest, tightest thing she was wearing. And sometimes you think something is inappropriate, but you don't say anything. What am I to say? Tell her what to do, you know?
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so let's take this as a slight baseline as well. So tight-lipped at the start, and he opens with a real kind of Wallace and Gromit, Nick Park fear expression right off the top. Very quick, but I think I see fear there. So tight-lipped and fear. So the frame for all of this, for me, is something is about to come up which he is fearful of, and he maybe thinks he shouldn't really say. This idea of he missed something, but he's searching for what it is. I think you're adding detail here that you hadn't worked out beforehand. Shouldn't, like, if that was important detail, you'd have gone to your daughter and you'd have said, hey, what was it that I'd missed those weeks before? Help me fill in the blanks. He hasn't filled in the blanks. So again, he's off his game here because he's making stuff up as he goes along. He puts in this idea of exhausting. So again, he's trying to create an idea of mitigating circumstances, I think, for all that comes up. Again, now we've got this idea, I think, that if you're a real man, you are exhausted because you work really hard. So there's mitigating circumstances for the things you do because you work hard, you're exhausted, you don't know what brand of shoes you've got on, and you're always wearing gloves. Now, even the baseline, therefore, I don't really like the frame around it. The frame around his baseline is one of something massive is coming up, and he's already preparing the framework by which we view it. But within it, what I would say is we see a lot of illustrators and we see them symmetrical as well. So when he really gets going into what is potentially some factual elements around this, the recital, who was there, we see a lot of symmetry and we see a lot of description with his hands. Greg, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, Mark, I love the fact you picked up on him searching. Now, this is 10 years later. This is 2006. His handlers are gone. He's got no money. There's no one around to help him out. We're going to see a difference. In his baseline here, he makes a huge mistake, a big gamble for a guy like me sitting across from him. And that is he searches for information in his visual accessing cues. So when you ask him what he missed, first of all, I would have said, nothing. I wouldn't have given you something to come back and ask, what was it you missed? And I certainly would not volunteer that information. And when we coach witnesses, when we're talking to people about deposition, we're going to say that. Don't volunteer anything. And when you do it, try to keep it concise and simple so you don't have to rifle around in your head looking for information. What he does is go back up to his left, back to a visual accessing cue we saw him use when he was rifling through his closet to count shoes. Ding, ding, ding. There's a great indicator that when he remembers something visual, he's going to go up because he's trying to remember what it was he missed and he's thinking about it. But other than that, he looks like the earlier guy. His pitch, tone, and cadence are all strong. He comes in an emotional state. You can see his eyes are drifted down right. He sits and starts to grip that chair. And Mark, I think that's the anxiety that you're seeing. He does 50-50 eye contact, but makes eye contact and locks to make his point. That's OJ if you go watch him in the 70s and 80s. That's him. That's who he is. And his blink rate is low, so it's showing that he's getting comfortable. He stares into space when he's working on a memory. We all do that. when he's thinking about something and trying to work out details. But then he shows anguish in his brow when he's trying to remember that. You can see it in here. He gets comfortable and then he starts moving around. He uses one hand and the other hand. He gets a little irritated when she interrupts him. If you notice his face, he gets a little irritation in his face. And then he has some disdain or disgust, or maybe a little bit of both, when he's talking about Nicole wearing clothes that were too tight. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, totally agree with you. I'm excited because we finally get to have a discussion about digital flexion where we can see a perfect example of it. And right at the beginning, when you're talking about him getting a little stressed on the face, we can see the hands kind of dig into the chair. So we're seeing the fingers curl in at the moment of discomfort right there. And it's in plain sight, right as she says the words the day. And I think right when he's recalling how many times he's missed recital, there's some anguish there on the face. I think that might be just anger at himself. And there's a lot of 9 o'clock eye movement. So he's going over there to hour 9 o'clock. As you're watching this video with us, it's 9 o'clock to you. But he shifts to 2 o'clock, like Greg, you were saying, when he's thinking about Nicole's outfit and what she wore and visualizing the outfit that she had on. And finally, what I think is important to note here is there's some, I think, concealed anger right at the moment where he's talking about who am I to tell her what to do? And a little bit of a challenge because there's a sclera exposure when our eyes widen up and there's some anger on the face. And you can see that right at that moment, who am I to tell her what to do? So that's what I got on that one. Mark?
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm done. I went, didn't I?
I think it's me.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Scott.
okay. All right, I think this is a great baseline, and I think you're right. I think he hasn't had his handlers for a while, so before this he's like, yeah, I got this. I've done this before. But when he sits down, she starts asking him questions. That's when the stress starts ramping up because this is the first question she's asked him. This is the way it begins, and as you're right, Greg, when he's up there searching around, looking for his answers, those types of things, these are all things that are going to show us everything changes after this. This is the only time we see him relax like this. He's back in the chair, he's got his hands over this way, and then we see those things start gripping up, and we see the whole thing start to fall apart, and he can't get a handle on it. He's trying to remember how to act, but he didn't have this answer prepared. That's why it's sort of like me. It sort of shoots over here, and it shoots over there, and it stops and starts again. And this lets us know that he doesn't have professional help on this, but he thought he had it together when he went into it. So, and I think it sort of falls apart on him, and he understands that and realizes that.
Let's talk about the day of June 12th, 1994.
Yeah.
Tell me about getting ready for your daughter's recital. Just take me through the day.
It was a long week. I had been to 3 or 4 cities that week. I was totally exhausted. My friends in New York tried to get me to stay in New York that Friday, play golf Saturday, and then go straight to Chicago where I had to be Monday morning. But my daughter was having a recital, and I had already missed, I think the week or 2 before, I was out of town, and I had missed something. I forget what it was, something that my daughter was having. So I couldn't miss this. So I said, I got to be there for the recital. And I flew into town, and I just wanted to go there, see my daughter, and leave. And I talked to Nicole briefly that day. She had called and asked if I could get there early and hold seats. And I said, I don't think so, which she did. And when we got to the recital, she had actually held me a seat with her and the 2 kids, right?
There was something that you write in the book about what Nicole was wearing.
Yeah, it was almost like she was trying to be a teenager again. You know, dating all these much younger guys, wearing the shortest, tightest thing she was wearing. And sometimes you think something is inappropriate, but you don't say anything. What am I to say? Tell her what to do, you know?
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.